I'm Mary Welch, and I'm going to do my literary element lesson plan. I chose 3rd grade, and my teacher objective is the teacher will identify and explain the defining characteristics of various types of literature, including the folktale. My review, the teacher will review different types of literature on the smartboard. I'll ask, what is a fiction book? I'll write the word fiction on the smartboard. We'll discuss what a fiction book is and some examples of fiction books, and I'll write their ideas, the students' ideas, on the smartboard. What is a nonfiction book? We'll do the same with nonfiction. Can you name other types of literature? And whatever student gives me an example of a different type of literature, that will also go on the smartboard. The overview, the purpose. The purpose of the lesson is to recognize different types of literature and examples of their meaning. Continuity. Past. Yesterday we learned about different types of fiction and nonfiction books. Today we will learn various types of other literature, including folktale. And in the future, tomorrow we will review over all of the types of literature and books we discussed and learned. Objective, the learner will identify and explain the defining characteristics of various types of literature, including folktale. Okay, my motivation. The teacher will introduce Precious and the Boo Hag. The learner will make oral predictions on what they think a boo hag is, the kinds of things a boo hag might do, and the type of literature they think the book is, while the teacher notes the information on the smartboard, because we're going to save the information we write down for later. And the teacher will orally read Precious and the Boo Hag. So, this is Precious and the Boo Hag by Patricia McCassick and Onwami Jean Moss, illustrated by Kristen Roker. Ooh-wee! Precious had been up all night with a stomach ache. Since it was corn planting time, every hand was needed in the fields. Got no choice but to leave you here, Mama said. Now remember, don't let nothing and nobody in this house, not even me, 'cause I got a key. After plenty of hugs and dozens of do's and don'ts, Mama finally left. We're no further than a stone's throw away, she called out over her shoulder. You need us? Come a-running. Understand? Yes, ma'am, Precious answered, feeling like a big girl. Don't worry, I'll be fine. And then her mama tells her, do your chores, don't make a mess, don't ramble in my things, and do get your stuff off the floor. Before he left, Brother pulled Precious to the side. Be sure to mind Mama now, 'cause if you let somebody in, you never know. It just might be Cruella the Boo Hag. Who? Precious said, with a disbelieving giggle. Brother scrunched his face. Boo Hags live all over everywhere, but Cruella is one who lives in the prairie. She's tricky, and she's scary, and she tries to make you disobey your mama. Precious held her breath as Brother went on. Cruella is strange from head to toe. She ain't too smart, got no manners, hates clean water, can change her shape, and tells whoppers. Then his voice lowered as he added, and she'll do most anything to get inside. Why does she want to get inside? Precious asked, her voice quavering. Brother clicked his teeth. You don't want to know? Just remember this. No boo hag can get inside your house less'n you let her in. Then he rushed to catch up with Mom. Now Precious was all by herself. She stood stone still listening to the quiet, hoping that if Cruella the Boo Hag was nearby, she wouldn't notice her or see that she was alone. What you doing standing like a bump on a pickle? Addie Louise Patterson's voice boomed through the kitchen window, almost turning Precious inside out. How come you not helping with the planting? Got a stomach ache, Precious answered, and I can't let nobody and nothing inside, 'cause, she sighed, it might be Cruella the Boo Hag. Ella Louise burst out laughing. Who told you that silly stuff? Ain't no such thing as Precious and the Boo Hag. Really? Precious said, mad that she had fallen for another one of Brother's tricks. Better watch out for the little green men from Mars, too, Addie Louise teased and skipped away. Even though Addie Louise was sure to tell the whole county that Precious was a scaredy cat, the girl felt much better. There's no such thing as a boo hag, especially one named Pruella, she told herself with a pinch of confidence. To pass the time, Precious looked through Mama's handkerchiefs, then tried on her Sunday hat and high-heel shoes. She was having fun counting all the strawberry preserves when suddenly the birds stopped singing. The air fell thick and cold, honeysuckles wilted on the vine, and the sunny day took on a dark and dreary disposition. Precious looked out the kitchen window, didn't see nothing. She peered out the side window, didn't see nothing either. But when she went to the front window, there it was, riding on the back of the storm, the biggest, meanest, something Precious had ever seen. It had eyes of burning cinder and hair that shot out like lightning. Pruella the Boo Hag is real, and she is one awful sight. Open the door and let me in, shouted a voice that rumbled like thunder. The wind whirled and twirled and shook the whole house. Precious shook too, and in a small voice she answered, My mama told me not to open the door for nothing and nobody. Quick, she dashed behind the curtain and sang her fear. Pruella is a boo hag, she's right outside my window. She's tricky and she's scary, but I won't let her in. The boo hag howled and threw lightning, but Precious held fast. Louder and louder she sang, but I won't let her in. At last, Pruella grumbled and sputtered, and poof, she was gone. Instantly, the sun came out, the birds started chirping, and the daisies lifted their faces to the light. Precious opened the front window and filled her lungs with fresh-smelling air, and then sang her victory. Pruella is a boo hag, she's right outside my window. She's tricky and she's scary, but I won't let her in. While she was still humming, a woman opened the front gate and came stepping down the walk, looking like a runaway rainbow. Morning to you, she spoke real cheery, then took a seat in Mama's porch rocker. Good morning, Precious spoke back, noticing that the woman wore one pink shoe and one orange shoe. It's hot as you please, the visitor screeched, looking over Precious's head to see inside. Bring me something to drink. Tea, juice, dirty dishwater will do. Did you say dirty dishwater? Said no such thing. The woman snapped back. Hurry up now, I'm thirsty. Precious wondered if the strange woman had ever heard her please. Returning from the kitchen, she handed the woman a cup of water. The woman flashed a crooked smile. Now, young'un, let me inside and drink it in the cool. Precious shook her head and backed away. I'm not letting nothing and nobody in this house. The woman grumbled and hissed and took a deep gulp. Water! She gagged and coughed and sputtered. One eye went spinning like a top and the other started blinking and her tongue rolled out like a scroll. I said tea, juice, anything, she gasped. But never, never did I say clean, clear water. True to Brother's word, the visitor was strange from head to toe, had no manners, and hated clean water. Can't trick me. I know who you are, Precious said, and she slammed the window shut. Outside, the woman grew taller and wider and roared like thunder, like 100 swamp things. Let me in, Precious sang to muster her courage. Pruella is a boo hag, she's right outside my window. She's tricky and she's scary, but I won't let her in. With the melody swirling around her, the boo hag vanished. Just then, Addie Louise came skipping up from the side of the house. Hello, Precious, she spoke, not sounding a bit like Addie Louise. It looks like her, it walks like her, but it sure don't talk like her, thought Precious, checking to see if Addie Louise's shoes and eyes matched. Got some jacks and a ball, said the girl, her voice all scratchy. If you let me in, we can play. I told you I'm not allowed. Addie Louise smiled. Her teeth didn't look like hers either. Yo mama told me I could play inside with you. Precious put her hand on the doorknob. Well, if mama says it's okay, and the Addie Louise thing got so excited her toes popped through her shoes. They were big and hairy and smelled awful. Precious pulled back her hand, thinking fast as she asked all sweetly, "Doesn't Mama look pretty in her blue apron?" Truly she does." "You're telling a big whopper," Precious shouted. "Mama's apron's green." "Cruella is a boo hag, she's right outside my window. She's tricky and she's scary, but I won't let her in." In a fit of fury, the boo hag left, leaping wildly over the prairie like a March hare. For the rest of the day, Precious watched and waited for signs of Cruella the boo hag. As late afternoon, sunbeams struck the front porch, and orange's flash of light caught her eye. It was a penny, all sparkling new. Precious wanted it. She tried to lean out the window to reach the coin, but it was too far away. She fetched the broom, but the penny wouldn't move. She'd have to go get it. Her stomach started hurting once more, and now her head ached too. Slowly, Precious opened the front door. Her eyes searched the yard, first right, then left. No sign of Cruella. In a dash, she hurried out, snatched up the coin, and turned to go back inside. But on the threshold, she stopped and looked down at it. "Nope," she decided. "You can't fool me." And she flicked it over her shoulder. Poof! It was gone before it hit the ground. When Mama The teacher will hand out a boo hag prediction sheet to each student. The learner will write down what they predict before and after the story was read. One side of the sheet is for the students to write their predictions about a boo hag before they heard the story. The other side of the sheet is for them to write what they know about a boo hag after they heard the story. And I would say something like, "Class, now that you've heard the story, write what you know a boo hag is, what kinds of things a boo hag will do, and what type of literature Precious and the Boo Hag is." And we will discuss that this is a folk tale. The second activity, and this would be the learner will discuss and predict characters and types of literature with at least 85% accuracy. The second activity is the teacher will model and introduce What's Your Genre game. The students will be separated into groups of 4. Each group will have a set of What's Your Genre cards. These are what they look like. I have a whole stack of them, but I'm only going to show you a few. Each group will decide who goes first. The first person will flip. This has the genre, the type of genre, and a book that is an example. And this gives a description of what that genre is. So, for the game, they would all be turned over and swooshed around and spread back out. Okay, the first person will flip 2 cards over, and decide if they have a match. A match is 1 genre card, which would be this, and 1 card that describes the genre. Okay, so this person didn't get a match. They'll flip it back over. We'll try this one again, and we'll see. Okay, we have fairy tale, And we have a fiction story, often includes witches, kings, queens, princes, princesses, giants, fairies, fairy godmothers, and others. Events or items occur in sets of 3. There is a happy ending, happily ever after. We would decide that this is a match, so that person would take their match, put it to the side, because the person with the most matches at the end wins the game. Okay? And the learner will examine and recognize different types of literature and their defining characteristics with at least 85% accuracy. The teacher will walk around the room while that game is going on and observe and make sure that the matches are correct. My third activity is the teacher will hand out a what is the genre worksheet and a Scholastics. It could be an old Scholastics or a new Scholastic. Teachers have these all the time. A Scholastics book order to each student. The learner will look through an old Scholastic book order, cut and paste books onto the correct genre on their what is their genre worksheet. So here I have mystery, biography, science fiction, fantasy, fable, and realistic fiction. And what I did was I just gave you an example. I went through, I found a book that would fall under the genre of mystery. I cut it out, and then I just pasted it on there. And so they would go through that, and they would do that for each genre. And that would be the learner will assess and choose the correct type of literature with at least 90% accuracy. My closure, the teacher will put pictures of books on the smartboard with different types of literature and call on students to name which type of literature it is. Homework, the students will take home their what is the genre worksheet and study the different types of books and literature. Early finishers can turn their what is the genre worksheet over and list different types of literature not listed on the front, and they can find different types that we did not discuss or that weren't discussed on our sheet. And special needs, students with reading disabilities will be paired with a strong reader who can help them stay on task. The student with an English language learner, who is an English language learner, will work with a paraprofessional who can model how to say the types of literature and help the student stay on task. Remediation, students who need extra help will be grouped with a paraprofessional who will review and play the What's Your Genre game with the students. Enrichment, the learner will play a different game with the genre cards, so we would use these again. It could be a 2 or 3 person game. You shuffle and pass the cards out, put the cards face down in front of both players together. It's kind of like battle or war. They flip them over. Each person flips over one. Okay, so each person together flips over one. They flip it over. Okay, we know that's not going to match. Let's try this. If they recognize that this goes with this and they yell out mystery, whoever yells it out first is the person who wins that round. They get to keep it. That's how they keep score. And then they go again until all the cards are gone. And then they play until cards are matched. And that is it. Thank you.